Shelly Marie Redmond is a dietitian and YouTuber. I know her because she is one of my boot campers turned coaching clients, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for the last several months on establishing and helping her grow her YouTube channel, but most importantly, leveraging her YouTube audience to help her build her business. And in this interview, we touch on her experiences in the boot camp and the coaching, but also how she's been able to take advantage of a relatively small audience at 13,000 subscribers to get incredible brand opportunities, as well as help her grow her business as a dietitian. This is a great interview to listen to if you have a business that you're looking to bring onto YouTube to expand that. Hello, my name is Erika Vieira. I'm a YouTube strategist and coach, having helped thousands of women behind the scenes, such as Shelly, grow on YouTube. And on this channel, I interview female content creators where we pull back the curtain to reveal what it's really like to be successful on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe because I come out with new interviews every single week. Also, if you're interested in learning more about the coaching or the bootcamp, I'll have all the links in the description below. Enjoy this interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Shelly. Welcome to the show.
I am super jazzed.
I know.
Jazz fingers. Be here. This is awesome. This is super awesome.
I am so excited for my audience to meet you because you are such a light. You're such a personality that I just adore. And I'm so just excited for people to see you because your energy is just amazing and infectious, and I love it, your positivity and everything. So
yes.
Why don't, I always love being able to show off my boot campers and my coaching clients, and you're one of them, and being able to share your experiences, especially with you being a dietitian, somebody that has a very successful offline business, right? And how, you had the foresight to say, I want to start YouTube, I want to be online, and how that, eventually can, help out your brick and mortar business. But first, let's talk about, way back in the beginning when you and I first met, before enrolling in the boot camp, where were you at mentally with your YouTube channel?
Well, I always tell folks, to be perfectly honest, I was very SEO stuck. You know what I mean? Because this was like about a year ago?
No, it was more than I was. It was like December. Or I first talked was like in the fall of 2020.
Yeah, so that was the whole pandy. I called it the pandy time.
The pandy.
The pandy. It's the pandy because I know sometimes YouTube may criticize us and say, "Oh my gosh, no!" So it's the pandy. Everything was so SEO. Every course you would take, SEO. And my channel was boring. And I'm,
You're not boring.
Yes, I have really bright red hair and, just a really loud personality. And we're from Louisiana and we're just kind of wild and crazy. But my channel really didn't reflect that. And I wasn't getting a lot of views, and people were just that's when folks were saying, they would write the nasty comments you're boring and this recipe is terrible, and they probably didn't even try it, but I get it. I look back now and I'm just ooh, I was way too SEO driven, and that was what we were taught. And I told you this before, it was I was just playing on the computer and your ad popped up, I believe either on Facebook or on Google, and I was well, this is my last shot. This is going to be it because I've done all the SEO courses. I've done all the research, and I will try this camp out and see. And really those first 2 weeks, it was, oh my gosh, I am doing YouTube not in the right way. I really need to figure out, what does this target market of mine want? And then you have to figure out, okay, who is my target market? And it took a little while. So it's okay, what does this target market want and need instead of what do I think they need? And that was a long transition. Now that I do that, and it's not that I don't focus on SEO, to be honest, I really don't anymore.
Well, yeah, after working with me, yeah.
Yeah,
you don't need to.
Make sure, really when you bring folks what they want and need, it's just 200 times better. And no AI instrument can tell you that, because they're still a bot. It's still a robot. You taught me to focus on, what do these people both want and need? And then they'll start to watch. And literally since January 1st, my entire channel has changed. I get emails from folks. I get these teary-eyed comments that, oh my God, this recipe is great. I made it for the kiddos, and we're traveling to a soccer game, and I made this recipe. And that's really what changed, was kind of going into that real life. And that took months, but it was completely worth it.
I feel like prior to joining the boot camp, and I'm so glad you said you found me in an ad. I did experiment with the ads for like a hot minute,
Yes.
like not that long. And I think you were like I had got a few good people from that. I'm like, okay, maybe I should consider doing that again. But I only did ads for like not that long, like maybe a month or two. So good. I'm glad that worked somehow. You know, you weren't a stranger to investing in yourself, because I remember, I think in your initial like boot camp application, you had signed on for several different courses.
I'm in my 40s, I tell folks. And when I first started working as a dietitian, I did a lot of work in media. And when we were first in media, we had to wear like the blazer and the collar and stand really straight and no accent at all, and really look at the camera and be kind of stern, you know, very like white coat syndrome type thing with the doctors. And that's kind of what those first courses were like. It was just very staunchy and starchy. And your title must be how to, I'm going to make this up, boil an egg, you know, or like how to cook a turkey.
Very formulaic, basically, like a plug and play formula. And
then the problem, what happened, and you know, you kind of look back this in my career in the beginning, is that then everybody starts to look like that, and then it's really gets boring. And the viewer is going to complain, and the viewer can. I always tell folks, the viewer can complain. It is okay that they complain. To be nasty, no, but you know, I look back on those videos that I've done before, and you know, you're thankful for them, but I'm just, oh my gosh, I don't even look like myself, sound like because it was say this in the first 30 seconds, and make sure you say, and if you want this, click subscribe. I don't even say that anymore. Like, why did I do that? But it was such a formula, which formulas are wonderful in the beginning, but there is a point where, okay, everybody's caught on to this, you know, and everybody kind of knows. It's like, you know, it's like the old dating guide, but it worked back in the day, you know, when YouTube, I think, kind of was the baby, but it's not really a baby anymore. YouTube to me is like a cable state, like, you know, cable TV, and folks they want to smile. They want folks to identify them. They just don't want, and I'm Shelly, and if you like this video, be sure to click and subscribe, and be sure to scroll in the description. That totally breaks the line. And I think that's what happened. And unfortunately, some of those haven't been updated. And I'll have, you know, friends or colleagues say, well, why did you change so much? And it's just like, the numbers reflect it. But folks just like that. They that natural interaction instead of, you know, that very staunchy, you know, just how to do this, step 1, step 2, step 3. It just doesn't jive. I did a lot of courses that were very SEO driven and really didn't, it brought in folks, but not your target market. Your course, so, you know, you walk in, and I think it's the second lesson was the target market, because I tried to look at my lesson.
The third. The second was the niche,
Yes. Was really kind of saying, here's what my target market needs, because a lot of folks will say, well, who's your target market? And I mean, you know, in the camp, we also have the Facebook group, which is really cool, which I need to get back involved in that. It wasn't just, oh, my target market is a mom, you know. We were like, no. Is she struggling? Is she, you know, maybe working 3 jobs? Or is she have 4 kids and they're all in soccer? You really had us, drill down. And so that's when I looked at my clients and I was like, who are these folks? And what is their struggle? What are their positive attributes? What are maybe some things that are negative about them? Maybe they, have a stinky personality, and we have to kind of walk around that personality and figure out how to identify with
stinky personality.
Yeah, it's true though. It's like some people, I deal with a lot of different folks in clinic, but it was literally that drilled down, and it was tough. I mean, it didn't take a day for us to figure it out. And then once I did that, and I never did that before, I was just like, oh, I'm a dietitian.
I know it all.
People are gonna come to me, but you had to really bring it down, and then really after that, we kind of crafted our mission statement. Like once you figure out who your people are, you will get that loyal crowd. And it may not be the 100,000 that you're taught in all those SEO courses. And that's why I'm so glad you never say that. You never say, oh, 100,000 subscribers and you've made it.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. And that was the other thing. It's like, you ain't, you know what, if you ain't got 100,000, you were like, if you have the loyal fan base, you will be okay. And that's kind of what's happened.
Yeah.
With us.
Definitely.
Yeah, every other course, 100,000, da, 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 da. And I'm like, what's special about 100,000? What happened? Does like the magic door open and YouTube CEO gives you money? No, you get blocked to put on your wall.
You know, and that's the thing. You make a good point about like who the audience is, because it's like, it's not just also even about the superficial things like, oh, like what's her name? She's female or this. It's like getting deep into, you know, what are her deep desires? What are her struggles? What are her needs? All those things that ultimately creates dynamic content. Because when you're focusing on that, then like what you said earlier, don't give them what you think they need. Give them what they really want.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's all about them. So now when I do videos and recipes, most people, like, so for me, most people need, like my target audience needs quick, cheap, you know, it's something everybody's going to like, you know, so I'm not going to make a recipe that has lavender and, you know, be like a Gwyneth Paltrow style, which again, she has her own target market. But when you kind of figure out those things really intense with why you want to do a channel, I think that's totally what's made us successful. And then so my docs will see that and they'll be like, well, hey, Shelly can cook really good. And she uses simple stuff, you know, because people are very intimidated by cooking. They're terrified of it. Like they'll come in my office literally in tears, like, I don't know what to do. And it's gonna be okay. And so folks will refer out and they'll be, you know, they can see me and they'll be like, well, she's a friendly face and I'm not gonna feel like a bozo. I mean, that's kind of what made Rachel Ray popular. 30-minute meals. You know, she definitely niched that down and folks just felt super comfortable with her.
What type of results did you see from making those changes that you made, that you learned in the boot camp?
Yeah, so we started out, you remember, so we worked together, we did our target market and we were just like, okay, well, let's educate. And so we did education videos. So like the headshot, like, hey gang, avoid this, let's shop for this, let's do this. Those worked out really good. And then I realized, and you realized with me, because we were working together, okay, they got enough of this. Because there's a point where if you keep repeating, it's like, eh. So let's start the cooking, you know, just the simple recipes. That's when that's when I got the most amount of comments, because folks were like, I think I'm going to try this recipe. Okay, we're going to keep doing this. That's when actually YouTube started picking up all the videos. And that's when I've seen like the crazy increase in subscribers. And so I had like my you know, my kind of, I guess, set people that we've established, like our target market folks. And then all of a sudden it just went, oh my gosh, YouTube picked this video up. And then they picked this video up. And then we went back to doing the shorts, because you talked about shorts as more of like the quote unquote education videos, and then the recipe videos as the longer videos. And it just kind of went up there. Like I have a short right now that's just going crazy. Like once we switched over to that target market, before I was just, oh my God, I would spend hours on that stuff, taught in old lessons. And then once it was you, it was like, yeah, they're going to want a tortilla. We're good. Yeah. Let's do it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that my hope is in working with people through the boot camp and all the lessons, and then also one-on-one coaching, is really having kind of like a very sharp YouTube instinct and knowing enough that, I mean, I'll still every now and then use kind of an SEO tool like TubeBuddy, but it's more to confirm my instinct more so than using it as a crutch and be like, okay, well, because of that score, I'm going to do that video, you know, for that client. Right. So I rarely use those in coming up with video topics. Like I actually don't. Maybe every now and then I'm curious to see, okay, what's a word that seems to be used a lot? But the whole goal in the way my kind of approach and philosophy is to really teach you how to think for yourself and to have this like sharp YouTube instinct.
Yep.
And so many people have that instinct already, in the sense that they do know who their target audience is, right? Like they either, because of you, it's like you've worked with these people in clinic, and I know, like in talking to you, I'm like, okay, you know, like what is it? Who are these people? And you instinctively know, but like you said, you were taught certain things about like SEO and these formulas that you felt you had to fit that mold, and you realized, wait, I just don't do that. Go with your audience. Go, you know, really hone your instinct. And then also then the other side of it is like really kind of expressing who you are and your personality and not getting stuck, because you had such a vibrant personality. And like, I remember saying that, like, yeah, like you're so different on your calls with me than you are like in your videos. Like you're totally boring in your videos.
Yeah,
like this is not you. And I remember telling you, just gotta like loosen up.
And I'm leaving those videos up, and I'm okay with that. But it was so just 1984, just TV anchor. Hi, welcome tonight.
My name is Shelly.
Click here, you know, and I'm just, why did I do that? But again, you live, you learn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you end. So here we are together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But, you know, don't get stuck in the SEO. You know, if I had to say huge, don't get stuck in the SEO. It's okay to look it up, you know, but when I tell you, I used to spend hours and then hours writing the description.
Oh my God, what a waste.
Like hours. Just
what a waste.
Just waste.
Huge waste of time. You're so much better off creating just a better video than wasting your time on that. Yeah.
And hours writing the script and hours with the hook. And, I mean, the hook with a cooking video is, here you go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just in hours with the before. Oh yeah. And then hours with tech. My cooking videos, I film all on my phone now. Because, you know, you value time as you run a business, and to set up the big fancy camera and the mic and all that stuff. I mean, once your time is money, and, you know, and that's where I don't want to sound like, you know, a money hungry capitalist or anything, but time is money. And so if you're spending hours with some of these SEO experts teach on SEO and writing a description and all that stuff, when you could have just done a really cool creative video with your phone and do editing on InShot.
You did the boot camp, you did the time in the boot camp. What would you say are the specific results you saw?
It was really identifying the purpose of the channel. So from my niche to the target market to really having that plan of, here's what I'm going to do. Because before, kind of like we said, it was like, oh, I'm a dietitian, I'll just do SEO and we'll be good. Then the boot camp was like, okay, here's your channel. It'd be kind of like starting, I hate to say a blog, but I know some people kind of poo-poo blogs, but it'd be like starting a blog. Here's what I'm going to write about. Well, it's like, here's what I'm going to do videos about, and here's my market, and here's who I am, and here's going to be the videos based on their wants and their needs. And that, you know, that was the big part of the course for me. That was the eye-opening wow, because I hadn't done that before. And I'm taking a lot of courses, which again, I enjoy taking courses, but this one crazy identified that for me, because nobody ever said that. It was more like, who are you? What do you do for a living, pretty much? And just make videos based on that. You'll be fine because you're going to follow the algorithm. No. If that works, it's like, no. It was like, we just don't drive straight lines. We got to do like curves and all that fun stuff. And you really, I think also when you do that, you lose the risk. Because I really believe that once you identify your target market, that's how kind of the quote unquote algorithm works. It's like, okay, you're doing some low carb stuff. Well, we're going to make sure and try to push this out to low carb people, not Bobby, you know, who's an 18-year-old twerp. I mean, you know, it's scary to, you know, put out videos and all that stuff. But once you identify, oh, okay, this is, you know, Deborah who's going to be watching this. She's a busy mom. She goes to soccer games. She's not going to care that you have great value, which is Walmart. And so when you identify that target market, you find those folks who really appreciate you. And that's when they kind of reach out and say, hey, do you do services? What do you do? Help me out here.
What inspired you then to go from the boot camp where you had saw some success, you were able to really identify your target market? I think really for you, it just have a clarity in what you were doing, because you had spent all this money on courses in the past and all this time, and you still didn't have that clarity. So it sounds like you had a lot of clarity in where you're at. And I do remember you in the boot camp, like you were in the Facebook group and like, oh my God, this is what I learned and this and that. And so then though, what made you say, okay, I'm going to invest a little bit more and then now get one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, so I was always taught you have to invest in yourself if you want to succeed at this. And my goal for YouTube was never, I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. 100,000 subscribers would be wonderful. I'm not going to lie. If I had a viral video tonight, it's like, 100,000, yes. But it was always how to use this as part of my business. And almost how to use this as part of marketing. And so that was the reason, like, okay, I want Erika to coach me, and not for just a month. I mean, this was like an extended time, because I got to figure out how to use this the right way. Because the other thing you don't want to do is just make videos, and I didn't want to rely on AdSense for money. I kind of knew that I wasn't gonna, unless you were, those folks like the Mr. Beast and those type of people. I mean, they just pump out content long time. They're making a huge amount of money on AdSense that I think the average person won't, because we maybe are putting out 1 or 2 videos, maybe 5 to 10 minutes in length. So it was just, how can I make this part of the business and generate revenue? And that's why it's like, okay, help me package this. How do I make this a package deal with everything? And that was the huge kind of turnaround that I did, was like, okay, now that we have clarity, let's really business this up. And to make a long story short, it's hey, let's make this part of the business. Let's turn it into a legit business. The biggest breakthrough came, I would say, was when you said, where do you see yourself with this in 2 to 3 years, in 5 years? Because we don't ask ourselves that with social medias and all that stuff. And I was like, I would really love in the next 2 to 3 years to develop a course. And that's when we're like, okay, well, let's do education videos and let's do cooking, and kind of let's see where both go, so you will combine it together when you make a course
and figure that out.
Right. And so that's kind of where we're at. But it was that big question, because it's like, I mean, we could pump out content forever, and not have a
purpose behind it. Yeah. Goal.
Exactly. And that's when you were like, okay, well, you then need to develop a handout, a freebie, so that you can get folks email. And so I have I'm probably at about 6,000 emails right now.
Oh, that's good, because I remember that was something we were talking about. I'm like, you got to capture this audience. You've got a business. You've got to, you can get online clients.
And so it's a simple menu. It wasn't anything you said, don't make it flashy, beautiful, just something simple. And so we did that. So we're at about 6,000, and I get about 30% open rate. I try to do one newsletter. From those emails, I try to do a newsletter a week or every other week. And so that's a pretty good open rate. And then, so that was the first thing you said to do, so we can capture them. But I get a lot of good response from those emails. And then you said, look at the different courses. I know you do Kajabi. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Kajabi. Yeah.
And so now that's kind of the goal. So we're going to hit July. I'm not sure when this will play, but now it's time to start, testing out the waters with back to education and cooking. And so I personally think it'll be more like a how to cook for weight loss course, because folks respond to my cooking videos way better than the education. Not that I get nasty comments, but those are the ones that folks are like, yes, thank you, something for the kids, something this, something that. And in research of stuff, I don't find that there's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of weight loss courses, but not, here's what you need to cook for the week. And that, going back to what you said before when we worked together in coaching, you said, what do your current clients come in and ask you? And I'm always like, a menu plan. And so it all circled back to that first question that you asked me. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, now let's implement it correctly.
Yeah, I do love working with business owners like yourself. Like I get a mix of people. I get people that just want to stay. It's like YouTube is a means to an end. It's like I want to be a YouTube creator and that's what I want to do.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to generate income through brand deals and AdSense and affiliates. But then I also get amazing women like yourself that have a business going on, right? So it's like, if you're not capitalizing your YouTube channel and having it make sense for your business, like what's the point? Because you've already got a successful business, you know, offline, and it takes time and energy and money to be creating these videos. Like, let's have a plan. And I remember it's like, all right, Shelly, you know, we're growing an audience, people are engaged, like what are we doing here? Like, what's your plan? And I feel like the initial part was kind of like you figuring out YouTube, like all the basic things we did in the boot camp, and like getting away from like this SEO mentality and like coming into your own on camera, coming into your own with like your videos and your personality. And now, after a while, it was kind of like, all right, now we're ready. I felt like there was a point where I was like, okay, we're ready now to get to that next step with you. And I'm so glad to see that even with the channel at 13,000 subscribers, you're seeing business opportunities from that.
Once I hit 10,000, I got a lot of inquiries. But even before that, when we were working together, like in that 5,000 range, because we identified niche, i.e. like the low carb keto style cooking, and because I think part of it is my personality, I would land not only YouTube deals with, you know, hey, develop a recipe with this or just talk about this product, but I still do a lot of TV work. And the TV work at the time of the pandy, and this was actually a blessing, we did it kind of like this, like Skype, you know, where we would sit and, you know, we would set up the phone, and I did it with different stations out the country. And so that was the big thing, because what would happen was that, hey, if we bring somebody on Skype, we don't want them to be, you know, standy, starchy. We want them to be really fun and positive, and everybody was in bad moods during the pandy. And so they would watch the videos and they'd be like, great, we want to book her.
From your YouTube channel.
Yes. And a lot of them was with Tony Chachere's, which is a Cajun seasoning based out of Louisiana. I did work with our local electric company, which I know folks are like, what? I'm like, they pay me a nice paycheck for that. And I always tell folks, for sponsorships, whatever you think you should charge, double it. because it is work. Like you said, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to write the storyboard, and then I got to do this, and then I got to edit it, and then I got to do all that fun stuff. A lot of specialty food companies, if they, you know, apply for grants, they would call me to do a video because they could just put it on their website. So it wasn't necessarily always on my YouTube page. It might have been on theirs. It might have been, you know, a commercial for them, or it might have been, you know, a TV station interview. So those were fun. And I mean, like the biggest ones, I think when we were working together was Swepco, which is the electric company. And that was a monthly retainer fee.
And then there's like a meat company too.
Those are great. Who was that?
There was a meat company. I was like, wow, you had some really cool opportunities.
I did. I have some really, really cool clients. I can't think of the meat company.
Yeah.
But I did do a station interview with Premier Protein, which is a really popular shake at Walmart. And don't be afraid to ask for money. You know, I think we had this discussion in the Facebook group. And they're just like, oh, they'll just send me a sample and you have 50,000 subscribers. And I'm like, no, you better charge $3,000 at least for that. And they were, oh, really? And I'm like, yes, please. Because, you know, and if they turn you down, it's okay. We'll just, you know, communicate. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not the end of the world, because there will always be products, brands who will need, I'll use the word influencer. And I think personally, in working with a lot of food companies and Swepco and Tony's and the Pork Council and the Beef Council, so those are commodity groups that I worked with, they like a local person or a person who has a good following. They don't necessarily go for, and I'm going to just say in my field, they don't necessarily go for the Bobby Flays. They don't necessarily go for the Rachel Rays. They like the folks who just have a nice, loyal fan base, who look friendly, who people can identify with. So, you know, for the influencers out there watching this and Erika's Bootcamp folks, charge that money.
Yeah, and I think
charge that money.
For you, that definitely, like the Louisiana thing, that's definitely part of your brand.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that you had a lot of local kind of companies and organizations reaching out to you from your YouTube channel for these types of really cool opportunities. And that's where it definitely pays to have a niche. I mean, you had a very specific niche. You're a dietitian. You were, specifically for women that were experiencing inflammation, menopausal, a certain demographic for sure. And I think it definitely pays in the long run.
Yeah.
Even without having a huge channel, you don't need a huge channel. It's great to grow, but you're monetizing and having a lot of opportunities from 10,000 subscribers.
And again, I know with the and we have a lot of like fitness and fashion influencers. They're so cool. Like so many people in our boot camp, I'm like, you're so cool, but there's opportunities for that as well. There's always going to be a local brand, a state brand, or, these events. I mean, things are firing back up from the pandy, and they're looking to, I was courted really heavily to go to this conference next week. And I was just, okay, here's, okay, here you come. And I'm just, all right, I'm going.
That's so cool. What about building your client base for your practice, your dietitian practice?
So, it took a hit in 2020, obviously. But before that, I'd be able to usually fit folks in a week, like, oh, we got a 7-day wait. Cause sometimes you call your doc or your OB-GYN and they're like, ooh, 4-month wait. And I'm like, they lie, So now, I have to eat crow. I mean, let's cut the crow and I got to eat it because I'm 3.5 weeks out. And that's never happened to me before. And what happens is, so when I go market to doctors, I say, hey, have them look at my channel, but they'll look at that and they'll call and they'll be like, hey, my doctor referred me to you. I'm watching your channel. You have red hair. That's always the first thing everybody says. Can I get a booking in with you? And I'm like, well, we are 3 weeks out. Okay. Some people get like, oh man, but I'm like, we kind of have a little bit of a waiting list, which I am not complaining about. That is a great problem to have. So that kicks me in the rear to do like a course or a boot camp. Yeah.
And so are you getting any people directly from YouTube?
I usually get 1 to 2 inquiries a week from YouTube, which is really good. And to me, that's a huge thing. Like 1 to 2 is a huge thing. So it's that, and then the docs, I made these little index cards with the YouTube page on it. They'll pass those out and they'll say, oh, my doctor gave me your card. I'm watching your channel and you're funny, huh? And I just go, yay, well, come on in.
So that's great. I love that because your YouTube channel is even a marketing tool for you to kind of get this business from these other doctors. So it sounds like you connect with the doctors and it's a doctor referral, but instead of being like, here's my business card, actually, here's my card, here's my YouTube channel, send people to my YouTube channel. And in that, really builds a know, like, and trust. So then it's like a no-brainer that they want to book with you.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the docs love it too. The docs love it
I'm sure
too.
the docs,
like, hey, don't ask, because the docs who I work with, they're like, I don't want to deal with food. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, watch her.
Yeah.
And you got to make it easy. And it can work in any field. I keep talking about fashion because we have so many great fashion folks in the boot camp, but I mean, at bridal shops and, I always can figure out like, tchotchke marketing, things like that, but they work.
Yeah.
Or, I think of anything bridal and career. I mean, you make little cards with your YouTube channel. Don't be embarrassed.
What would you tell someone who is on the fence or thinking and investing in the boot camp or even the one-on-one YouTube coaching?
Sure. Yeah. So, of course, with any, boot camp, one-on-one coaching, just be prepared to do some work. But also, if they're on the fence about it, it's if you want to do this for a long time, I would invest in this boot camp because that's what I was like. It's like I want to use this for my business. If you want to do this for your business, if you want to do this for and I'm gonna say the word, if you want to do this to make money.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a lot of time not to make money. Yeah.
If you want to do this for real and not, play and just take selfies and all that stuff, this is the definite place to be, because it's not only probably the most advanced, but the most realistic.
Yeah.
Again, I always say you can do formulas, you can talk to your blue in the face, but when everybody else is doing that, we got a problem.
Yeah.
We have a huge problem. And people are so smart. I think one thing I also did was I underestimated my target market just a little bit, because they're like, we know that, Shelly, show us recipes. But, people are so smart. They can unfortunately see through the formulas. They can see through, you're starting to see things like, this is clickbait, and it's like, well, it kind of is. And I mean, we're even seeing that in thumbnails with, folks are like, I see through this formula, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a huge believer in, for me, especially when I'm working with someone one-on-one, it's like each person's so unique, and it's like, I feel like they're a little like kind of puzzle for me to solve to now figure out how to best shine on camera. And yeah, I don't rely on any type of SEO or anything tools to do that. It's all that's what I that's what I do. And
that's the other thing you teach that I think is so important, is that, again, going back to target market, you got to do what they want, because in other SEO courses they'd be like, Shelly, you have to make sure you have this word and that. In old SEO groups it has said, oh no, have a separate picture of you, have a separate picture of the food. It just didn't work for my people.
Yeah.
It did not work. But yours were like, you were like, don't you dare change it. Because I'm like, should I test it out? No.
Just trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
The rate is 10.1%. Don't you dare change it.
Yeah. TTT, trust the TTP, trust the process. And you were good about that. You were a good coaching client, because you were, you definitely listen. And there's no formulas with YouTube. I'm a huge believer in that. There's not a one size fits all formula. And even with my boot camp, that's why I have to do it the way I do it, where I've got group coaching courses. I'm leading, and I'm looking into everybody's channels. I'm watching everyone's videos in the boot camp, because I can't just be like, oh, here's a thumbnail formula and I'll follow this, because it's different for everyone. One thing that might work for somebody might not work for somebody else and their audience. Right. So it's so different. Well, Shelly, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It was so nice chatting with you and hearing your experiences. For anybody that isn't familiar with your channel and your work, where can they find you?
Oh, super easy. So channel is my name, Shelly Marie Redmond. I have red hair, so Redmond, like the red hair. And Google search for my website, Shelly Marie Redmond or Shelly in the Kitchen, and that will list how you can work with me. You can shoot me an email. I answer everything. So I always tell folks, never be embarrassed to shoot me a message. That's not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I love you. Well, thank you so much, Shelly.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed that interview and you learned a lot from it. Now, if you have a YouTube channel or considering starting a YouTube channel that you're serious about growing, and you want the best of the best when it comes to personalized feedback, advice, and up-to-the-minute YouTube strategy, then consider my Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp for Women. I have been running this bootcamp since 2018, and we have hundreds upon hundreds of very successful students that have gone through the program. And I can go on and on about the YouTube Bootcamp, but I want you to hear it directly from some of the women themselves.
I feel so lucky that I got to do Erika's boot camp.
Before I joined the boot camp,
Before joining Erika's boot camp,
my channel was all over the place. I didn't know what I was talking about. I would hear people say that I need to find my why and my voice and my audience and understand my target audience, but I never felt like I really understood what that meant.
Erika helped me come up with YouTube video ideas. She helped me with consistency. She helps me to interpret my analytics.
I started with 12,000 subscribers and now I have over 50,000 and it is growing rapidly.
My channel has grown almost 100,000 subscribers.
I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this place in such a short amount of time without Erika's bootcamp.
What makes Erika special is that she has been talking to and analyzing YouTube channels for years, and that that has given her this bank of knowledge to pull from.
I'm constantly asking her questions about YouTube. I'm asking her advice about my YouTube channel.
Taking the Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp was one of the best
decision I could have ever made for myself, for my channel, for my own personal growth as a human being. I could not be happier.
I love that it has reinvigorated me in such a beautiful way. So I am so happy that I've joined.
You're crazy not to hire her. Get on it. All right.